On my New England road trip, I visited two parks for the first time, Lake Compounce and Quassy, both in the state of Connecticut. Lake Compounce is home to the world-famous wooden coaster Boulder Dash, and Quassy features the 2011 Gravity Group creation Wooden Warrior. This video is my experience at both parks in July of 2023. Before we jump in, be sure to give this video a thumbs up as this helps get these videos into the YouTube algorithm. On a Saturday morning, I landed at Bradley International Airport and headed directly for Lake Compounce, which was about a 40-minute drive. I didn't buy any of my tickets ahead of time to help safeguard against issues with weather or plan changes. This meant I was trying to buy my tickets on the way to the park. Once I submitted payment, I got an error screen with no instructions on how to fix it. I confirmed that they did charge my card, but I had no proof of order, so my only hope was to go to Guest Relations and hope they could fix the issue. Thankfully, Nick at Guest Relations was friendly and able to help resolve my problem in less than 2 minutes. Way to go, Nick. While waiting in line, I noticed they were playing the soundtrack to the Disney ride Soarin' Over California. To whomever picked that song, I say,
"Nice work, pal."
My goal was to ride Boulder Dash first, but many people told me on Instagram that Boulder Dash would probably not open with the park, and they were right. We were told it would likely open soon, so I made my way to Phobia Fear Coaster, the park's premier ride's Skyrocket 2. This is the park's newest coaster, being installed in 2016. It's also the first Skyrocket 2 I've been on with only 2 cars and no comfort colors. It was an absolute walk-on as the majority of the crowd headed for the water park. I sat in the back car and definitely missed the extra whip that the third car provides, but trading the comfort collars for the back row is very much worth it. I then went to Zoomerang, a standard old-school Vekoma boomerang with the old-school trains. At least this version was a smooth ride. A line was starting to form near Boulder Dash, so I made my way towards the entrance. Boulder Dash is a CCI wooden coaster opened in 2000 and built onto the side of a mountain. It has finished in the top 5 for wooden coasters each year since 2001 by the voters of the Golden Ticket Awards. For the 2023 season, the first drop and turn were outfitted with GCI's Titan track, which made that part very smooth. But the rest of the ride, it was pretty rough in spots, and I thought the airtime was decent, but not elite. Being that this ride is on the side of a mountain, the views are incredible. It's like a miniature version of the Beast at Kings Island. I thought about doing a re-ride, but they were only running a single train, and by the time we got back to the station, the line had become enormous. I wondered, if they run only 1 train on a busy Saturday, what does it take for them to run 2 trains? If anyone knows, sound off in the comments, I'd really like to know. Regardless, I had a bit of a headache after my ride, so I probably wouldn't have done a re-ride anyway, to be fair. I agree that Boulder Dash has a good layout with a great setting, but I can't say it's a top 5 wooden coaster when rides like Voyage, Tremors, Prowler, Mystic Timbers, and even Viper exist, just to name a few. One thing that holds it back is the roughness. If it got more Titan track in the high stress areas, I could probably move it up higher on my list. After my ride on Boulder Dash, I got pizza for lunch and went on a quick video and photo lap. Lake Compounce shares the same owners as Kennywood, which partly explains the 1 train on their most popular coaster on a Saturday. When I went to Kennywood on a busy Saturday in 2022, they were running 1 train on every coaster except Jackrabbit. They have done work to refresh the park, and it shows as the park has a clean and charming vibe to it. Overall, it's a park I would recommend visiting, as Boulder Dash and Phobia are a very good top 2. I left with 1 ride on Boulder Dash, Zoomerang, and Phobia. Wildcat is closed for the 2023 season, and from what I've heard, I didn't miss out on much. Hopefully this project to refurbish the ride will do it some good. This coaster is the centerpiece of the entrance plaza, and it will be good to have it up and running again. I drove about 30 minutes to Quassy, which is a nice lakeside park. I arrived at 3 p.m. and discovered that the park offers an after 4 p.m. pass for $26 at the time of recording. Seeing as I was trying to get to Six Flags New England after this, I elected not to wait, but it's something to keep in mind for the future. To coaster enthusiasts, this park is known for Wooden Warrior, a 2011 Gravity Group creation. This is a smaller scale wooden coaster in the same vein as Kentucky Flyer at Kentucky Kingdom or Roar-O-Saurus at Storyland. These coasters are small but can be very deceptive. Wooden Warrior is only 1,200 feet long. It features a 45-foot drop and hits a max speed of 35 miles an hour. These stats aren't impressive on paper, but this ride pulls 3 fantastic airtime moments, and the Timberliner trains run ever so smoothly across the track. There's also a small tunnel section which adds another nice touch to the experience. When you factor in setting and layout, Boulder Dash is the best overall coaster in Connecticut, but I had more fun on Wooden Warrior given the airtime and smoothness. It's a ride you can easily marathon, which I appreciate. After a couple of rides on Warrior, I looked for the park's junior coaster, Little Dipper. As I took in the park's ambiance, I couldn't help but compare it to a Fun Spot park, just set on a lake. That, by the way, isn't a slam. I really enjoy the Fun Spot parks. I got a ride on Little Dipper while there was no one in line, and even though I rode this for the credit, these junior coasters pull such strange forces that they end up being fun in their own right. I did another photo lap, and after a little over an hour, I made my way out so I could sneak in a couple of hours at Six Flags. I'll cover my Six Flags New England experience in a separate video. Overall, Quassy is an amusement park that I highly recommend. For coaster enthusiasts, Wooden Warrior is absolutely worth the trip. The staff here were also very friendly and accommodating, which I appreciate. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed Wooden Warrior. Don't underestimate this ride. Boulder Dash has potential to be even better if they could just take care of some more of the rough patches and add a second train on a Saturday. If you've been to these parks, what did you think of them? Would you rank these 5 coasters the same or differently? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.